Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about your non-renewable and renewable energy resources. For most of you, you've heard this before, like your non-renewables are coal, oil, natural gas, and renewables are things like water, wind, sun, yeah, things you've heard of probably most of your life. We're going to be discussing the drawbacks and the benefits of each one. I only got 10 minutes to talk about this. I'm going to go as fast as I can. I'm going to start off with coal. Coal is a non-renewable energy resource. It took millions of years to make it. And basically how it's made is when trees fall over, they pile on top of each other. Think of West Virginia. Now that's I guess the other side of the Appalachian Mountains when you get to the Appalachian Plateau, and then you have some deep valleys there. So when it falls over, and West Virginia is known for its coal. When the trees fall over, there's some rapid sedimentation that covered it, and over time that builds and compresses the trees and turns them into coal. Now, trees, what's bad about that? Trees take in carbon dioxide and put off oxygen, and when the tree falls over, that carbon dioxide is trapped inside the tree, and when it becomes coal, we burn coal, which releases that CO2 into the atmosphere that was once trapped inside the tree. When we burn coal, it just doesn't release CO2, it releases SO2, which is sulfur dioxide. Di meaning two. So when we release these chemicals into the atmosphere, it can combine with water. And that water, once it combines with water, like rain droplets, it makes that rain slightly acid, and that's called acid rain. Also, coal is a greenhouse gas. And greenhouse gas, what that means is um, when we put it into the atmosphere, it actually traps the heat that comes from the sun. See, when the sun's energy comes in, a lot of it's re-radiated back in outer space. It doesn't stay here; it goes back into outer space. But if we pollute our atmosphere with CO2 that was once trapped in trees, well, now the heat stays. The heat stays over time the global temperature rises slightly. Let me show you a profile of that. Okay. I typed in the sun's energy profile. Hopefully that will show the picture I'm looking for. And yeah, this is a great example right here. That energy coming in, 100% energy coming in, you see a lot of it's reflected back from these clouds. And that some 51% is absorbed. The rest of it's just pushed back, reflected from the Earth's surface, reflected from clouds, reflected from the atmosphere. A lot of that reflection is going on. But if we pollute our atmosphere with CO2 that was once trapped in trees, now that holds in the extra heat, and over time slowly raise global temperatures. Okay, the next one, oil, oil. Okay, oil is different than coal. Oil is a little bit cleaner in regards to burning it. It doesn't put off as much CO2, but at the same time, we still have some devastating effects of oil. Oil also is formed differently. Oil is formed from the remains of dead sea organisms, mainly sea organisms. I'm gonna type in right here, oil formation, and the images I pull up, you're gonna see is in the ocean, in the sea. So I'll pull up this one right here, and you see 300 to 400 million years ago, tiny sea creatures being buried. Think of like zooplankton, plankton. I didn't want to actually go to the website, and that material being deposited, falling to the bottom, and then sediment layers pile on top of it, and then oil is formed. So really, when you burn oil, you're burning dead organisms or dead sea creatures. Okay, so that's how oil is formed. Now, one of the bad things about oil is man-made disasters, us just being kind of careless and causing natural, or not natural, but man-made disasters from that. So I'm gonna type in oil spills, and yeah, there's been two major ones. One was the Exxon Mobil, which I think was back in the early 80s, and then the BP oil spill, which was not too long ago. And the BP was by far worse. And oil spills can have a dramatic impact upon the sea environment or the environment in general. And you can see as I'm just pulling through the pictures here, some of the really depressing pictures that we pull up. Just horrible. And this picture right here, basically this is skimming these boats are trying to go and skim the oil off the top of the ocean surface. So an oil does put pollutants in the air. I would say not as bad as coal, but you do have pollutants going in the air, and also oil spills can arise from it. Okay, natural gas is a little bit different than in either of these. Natural gas is formed as a plume of air, a plume of gas above the oil. So I'm going to put natural gas formation. And you're probably going to see, yeah, right above oil, the vapors that come off oil it's like settles as a plume right above the oil, and it's just like this big plume of gas that we can use for energy. Now, natural gas is the best and most cleanest of these, but the bad thing is we don't have as much of that as the others, so we're limited in supply. Now, we do have a lot. I don't think I'm saying that we don't have a lot. We do, but not as much as coal and so forth, okay? And it does burn a lot cleaner than the other ones do. By far, it's a lot cleaner than the other ones. Okay, so now I'm going to get into renewables, renewable energy resources. And your renewables are, okay, the renewables, like I said, is water, sun, wind. These are your renewables. They have drawbacks. Well, I guess some can be environmentally. The water can. But wind, the drawback there is, well, it's expensive to make, and weak by comparison. It's not, the wind doesn't spin the turbine enough to really power a huge city or anything like that. You have to have many, many, many windmills to do that. Or what you see there. I don't know the exact name of these guys, but you have to have many to power a city. And it's not always windy. So that's a drawback too. So you spend all this money making this wind fan farm, I guess, lack of a better word, this wind fan farm, and then it's not windy very much, so you're not getting a good benefit from that expense that you put into building that farm. Okay, the next one would be solar panel energies, or solar panels. Excuse me. Solar panels are very, very expensive to make in comparison to like just burning coal. Solar panels also has some drawbacks. Solar panels, the energy is stored through the day and then transferred out when needed. But what if it's cloudy? Or what if it's cloudy for an extended period, like you have a 3, 4, 5 day period of rain? Same principle. Also, the storing. It doesn't store a lot in comparison to something like burning coal and burning oil. It's weaker by comparison. Now, your last one would be your water energy, or dams, or anything like that. Now, it's expensive to build a dam. Now, water energy, okay. It's expensive to build these dams. Now, let's pretend I built this dam and we back all this water up in this picture. That's going to have an impact on any of the life that is downstream, because you have now kind of isolated what's downstream in comparison to what's upstream. Like this example right here. The water goes down a tunnel and spins a turbine. So the ecological impact could be that you're just not, well, you're slowing down what nature intended just to flow naturally. So you're disturbing ecosystems. Also, what about the people down here further, that live down here further? That could be a possible political thing, because you're damming water that would flow naturally, and say it's the next state or next country from you. And now you and your country have built this huge big dam, and it is slowing the water down to the next country. So that could be a problem. All right, so we have discussed, I only have 30 seconds left. You see it just popped up. Non-renewables, renewables. And we also discussed the benefits and drawbacks to each. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned a lot. You found it informative. So look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.